Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast here with Jessica Bun Bun. This is our House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 5 preview.
Mhm.
We have just made it to the other side of, I think, one of the most epic, dramatic episodes of the season. We have lost Rhaenys. That is confirmed. But
Mhm.
here is the additional question. Have we also lost Aegon? And that can be worded and twisted in all sorts of different ways because even if he is alive, is he really going to be the same?
Yeah, is he a functioning king if he's alive? This preview really wants to ask that question. Is he alive? We saw Alicent asking it herself, but there are some clues later on in this preview that confirm that he's probably alive.
Yeah, I'm not going into this episode thinking so much that whether or not he's still around is that big of a mystery. I feel like if they were going to take Aegon out of the equation, they would have just done it on this past episode. Like, this is not a show that needs to linger on the fate of a king nobody really likes all that much. If you want to have a good cliffhanger like that, you do it with somebody people really love, and like Rhaenys, who they'd be sad if she's gone.
Yeah, I mean, this preview had, her dragon head being paraded through town, big proclamations. Oh, King Aegon, he did this. He's a true warrior. Like, what's the purpose of all of that if he's gone?
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that are said here, actions being taken that make me feel like Aegon is still around. But then the question then becomes, how is he around? What role is he going to play in the events to come? We will have a lot more on that here, but hit that subscribe button as well because we have more reviews and discussions of House of Dragon coming. Smash that like button as well. That helps us very, very much.
Yes. And also, if you want to help support the channel further, you can join our Patreon. We'll have a link for you below. It's a great way to help support us so where we can continue on to make more videos. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined. Okay, let's just get into that dragon head going through town. I mean, anybody else is heartbroken watching that? I mean, it killed me to watch that happen. I mean, I understand as well why they are doing this if Aegon is still alive. They want the people to think not only is he a warrior, look at what he did. You can see it with your own eyes, but that he's still functioning to some degree.
I just was so sad looking at that. I know that dragons aren't even real, and if they were, this is still a work of fiction, but just to see this fictional dragon head be dragged through town, it made me really, really bummed out, even though I understand the whole practical purpose of it to elevate Aegon to this other sort of level.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Aemond is probably off somewhere just sulking in a castle at this point, having one of the worst days of his life. That Aegon is getting public credit for what is going on here, when really all Aegon did was one, get drunk, two, get on his dragon, three, go rogue on Sir Criston's plan, and four, get into the way, basically nearly to the point where Aemon trying to kill him.
Yeah, that's the thing is if Aegon was gone, I think Aemon's demeanor in this trailer would have been way different. We saw him standing with Alicent where they're kind of overlooking things. There's no crown on his head. And he would be the person who would be moving into that spot. Like, he has no heirs right now. Aegon has no heirs. And that's the part of the trailer where it kind of has given away that he is still alive.
Yeah, well, this is a big thing. We know how important heirs are in the greater Game of Thrones universe, that sometimes, to great frustration, all anyone ever seems to want to talk about. And yes, we are at this point right now where Aegon does not have a son, but
Right.
there's a couple of different ways we can take this conversation about how the king isn't short on heirs. I mean,
Yeah.
number one, he's still pretty young, provided he's alive.
Yes.
And two, we know at least from the source material that Aegon has another son in Maelor, but the problem with the show is that Maelor was supposed to be alive back during the blood and cheese incident in episode 1, and this is where things get a little bit tricky. I think, and this is just, tinfoil hat
Yep.
prediction, I think that we are still going to see Maelor on the show at some point. It's just the show timeline is moving a little bit differently than the book timeline. There's all sorts of different practical and confusing reasons for that, but I think they're still going to try to make that into a part of the story. I don't think the events of House of Dragon are going to be changed that much if Aegon has another son. It's more about what can Rhaenyra and Team Black do in order to stop Team Green once and for all. And I just, even after everything's at Rook's Rest, is everybody at King's Landing now suddenly gonna just be like, rah rah, Aegon, you did this? If somebody paraded a dragon head through the street of my town, I would just be kind of horrified. I wouldn't want anything to do with them.
I think they want to really make sure that they hide the fact that Aegon was going rogue,
Yeah,
drunk on this dragon, causing problems. He did all this to himself. Like, they can't have him look reckless, obviously. So it makes sense that they have done what they did and that they are parading this head through town. But this puts Aemon and Alicent in a really interesting position. I've been sort of the opinion that if Alicent can get Aemon on the throne, Aemon is somebody who would make a better king than Aegon. Am I saying, he'd be the best king ever? I don't know. He's a kid still. He's
yeah.
like 16 or 17 years old and he doesn't have any experience yet. But he is the most studied for this position on Team Green. And he has been sort of like, yeah, I know I'm the second son, but just in case something happens and maybe I yell Dracarys and who knows, maybe I kill my brother and I end up on the throne. I got to be ready for it, right?
Yeah.
So he is ready for it. But I do think that he is somebody, because he's so insecure and he does want that sort of his love tank filled, that someone like Alicent or Larys can come in and help work with him to be able to actually rule in a way that's not as chaotic as Aegon, who just doesn't know what he's doing and is kind of sitting back and looking pretty.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibilities that someone does take Aegon out at this point, and for a multitude of different reasons. Number one, yeah, I think Aegon is alive, but clearly he's not doing that great. I feel like if Aegon was just fine, no worse for wear, he would have been out there on that parade too, being like, rah, and because this man is so obnoxious, he would be doing whatever he could.
We also saw that box come in, which is probably how they got him back.
Yeah, so I don't think he's necessarily in that great of shape. And if he's not in that great of shape, all you really have to do, and I'm not trying to think this dastardly, but you just have to get this guy in a spot where there's not a lot of other people around, and you can make this argument of, oh, he just succumbed to his injuries or X,
Right.
Y, or Z. And if you're Aemond, if you're trying to lead by a certain amount of fear, is anybody really going to question you anyway? If something happens to Aegon, he's in charge, and it's like, oh, we're starting to be treated a little bit better. Are we going to actually look into this more? I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I mean, that feels like the best plan for Alicent and Aemond to get, if you can't get Aegon under some sort of control. And Alicent in this last episode tried, where she was basically like, I need you to do nothing. You're just going to be the king and
Yeah.
let the adults in the room adult the kingdom. It's not going to be you. You sit to the side. But now she knows that he's not going to do that. He's going to go in and make a muck and be a problem. So would she kill her own son? No. Would she be, like really upset should somebody else do it and then she can get Aemond on the throne? I don't know. I'm sure she'd feel bad that he's dead. But at the same time, like, she can't control him. There is no controlling Aegon. And he
Yeah.
is going to continue to make a huge mess of their legacy, their family, all these problems. Or she can get Aemond on the throne and then they can sort of deal with it. But it's like, who's going to take out Aegon? It's not going to be Alicent.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Sir Criston. He's the hand. He doesn't
Yeah.
want him to go, or he's no longer the hand. So is anyone going to let Aemon near him? Probably not. So, like, who's really going to get in there? Larys? I mean, Larys is good no matter where he lands. He seems to just land on the winning side. And as
Yeah.
long as he can be in somebody's ear, everything's A-okay for Larys.
Yeah, you can just let Laris do it, or let Laris go and, I don't know, find his own random people to come in and do the job that are hopefully better at it than Blood and Cheese were. But I think that Laris is the perfect candidate to do something like this, because all you got to do is promise Larys something and give Larys like a little taste of power, something that's going to make him feel important, and then he
Yeah.
will carry it out.
Yeah, because the other thing is I'm sure Aemon does want to get in there and finish the job. Like it looked like he was probably, or at least thinking
Hmm.
about killing Aegon when he found him on the ground. But Sir Kristen showed up and he was like, "Oh, I'm just sheathing my sword. Nothing to see here, right?" But he shot his shot, and if he missed and Aegon's alive, Aegon knows that he looked at his brother in the eye and was like, "Thank the gods you're here." And Aemon's like, "Nah, Dracarys," right? So if Aegon is able to heal from this, if Aemon doesn't kill him, like what happens to Aemon? Aegon knows that his brother
Yeah.
took a shot at him.
It's very complicated and very messy right now over on Team Green, because even if
We
Aegon,
team mess.
well, listen, over on Team Black here, we're not exactly in that much of a better position. Number one, we just lost Rhaenys, which is one of the
Yeah.
most valuable assets we have. Number
Yes.
two, we're the worst council known to mankind, where all we do is just constantly undermine Rhaenyra and any decision Rhaenyra wants to make. She doesn't seem to have that many ever stacking allies here. I mean, we saw Kragan Stark at the start of the premiere. Where's that dude now? Like,
I
where?
know.
Oh, it doesn't seem like anything Jace did mattered whatsoever the moment that everything happened with Blood and Cheese. I don't know if allies just went away or whatever. And then you've also got this situation where one of the most valuable people you could have is Daemon, but because Daemon is so reckless, you basically sent him to timeout. And in this promo, once again, we see that Daemon is being haunted with these dreams, these ideas, these manipulations, whatever is happening to him at the hand of Alice. The big question is just, how is he going to get out of this? I hope that he does in this episode. Maybe he goes through the journey that he needs to go through and realize that, okay, I can't be the king anymore, but I can be something else really, really valuable. I just don't want to see Damon in his own palace of torment for the remainder of this season. It works for a couple of episodes and that's it.
Yeah, no, it's enough. It needs to get wrapped up. He needs to not be there anymore. If this has to be the last episode. Like they've got him in the promo still over there hearing the whispers of like, you should be the one wearing a crown. She didn't say the crown,
Yeah.
she said a crown. So, he's going to take that for what he wants to take it as. Is he going to take it as I should be the king and wear
Mhm.
the crown, or I should be wearing a crown next to Rhaenyra? Like, where is he going to end up actually landing on this?
I'm starting to get a pretty good impression, though, as to why life in Harrenhal is so miserable and damp. It feels like whoever
It's
shows up
so
there,
damp.
they just get immediately just manipulated by Alice and starts messing with their minds. And I think everybody just wants to leave. I mean, Alice is all in game in all of this. Does not feel altogether clear. I mean, you can
No.
make an argument that this is just all a trial that Damon needs to get through,
Yep.
and that may very well be true, but it could be a larger, more strategic purpose at play here as well.
Yeah, that's been my tinfoil hat
Yeah, yeah.
theory, is that, she is either working for Team Green or she just is Team Green. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep Damon haunted over here at Damp Castle. Had throw in John Cena come over
Oh, no,
here
no, no,
from
no,
the
no more
bear.
John Cena
Everybody
cameos.
gonna haunt him, and we'll just keep Damon busy, because if he's busy and they don't have their biggest warrior, then Team Green can continue on to be messy over at King's Landing.
Well, John Cena is actually the perfect person to be haunting somebody, because the thing is with John Cena, you just can't see him. And okay, I've made a joke that two people who are watching this will probably get, but you know what? That's fine. No, I'm very interested to see Team Black start to come together a little bit more and start to figure out, okay, be proactive in what your next move is going to be, because so far this season, you guys have sat back, like wrestled with the morality of all of this, made Damon go sit in a corner. I get all of this, but you're dealing with people who are very, very proactive, and not always
Mhm.
in a good way, but Kristen Cole at least kind of knows what he's doing on the battlefield, and
Yeah,
Aemond
he
is
does.
very, very smart, and
Mhm.
they have actually sort of figured out, okay, we need to do this, then we need to do this. They are a few steps ahead of you guys right now. So this has to be the episode where Team Black bounces back. I believe in you guys. I am just also very, very worried that Damon's never going to be able to get his head on straight.
Yeah, they need Damon back and they need him to stop being haunted. He needs to have his head on straight and he needs to come back. But it does look like in the promo that they are going to be, finally kind of gathering some allies, or at least trying to.
Yeah, the Riverlands is going to be front and center for what's coming up here. I mean,
Yes.
we're going to continue to see all sorts of, Westeros geography play various roles in all this. I think as time goes on, more and more other places are going to get more involved. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint, but for certain characters, you better start running, because if you don't start, you're going to be gone soon.
Yeah, like I said, the person I'm really invested in Aemond. I know not everybody likes him. I know everybody's really mad at him right now. I'm mad at him too. I like Rhaenyra.
Yes.
She was somebody that, is my two favorite characters, and here we are, right? One of them is dead and the other one did it. So it doesn't make me feel all that great.
Yeah.
But I still find Aemond really fascinating, and he's in a very strange spot right now where he would be the person if Aegon isn't able to rule right now. He's likely the person who's going to be in that spot, unless Kristen Cole is back and he's the hand. Maybe they might put him in that spot. I don't know, right? Like Alicent will probably not want Kristen Cole leading everything right now. So Aemond, if his brother's not dead, yeah, he might stay on the throne for a little while, but eventually Aegon will probably get better and then come for him. It's not a great spot for him to be in, but he is a strong strategic mind. He may be able to find a way to wiggle his way out of it.
The worst news of all here is that we're already at the halfway point of season 2, and
Yeah.
I still don't fully understand why this season is shorter than season 1. I just am going to blame the television economy right now for some reason, just because every show seems to be getting shorter and shorter, people trying to save money. But this season keeps getting better and better. I know the bar is set pretty high now coming out of Rook's Rest, but we will see the build up. It seems like there's going to be at least one more major battle through the end of this season, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Just don't expect it in episode 5. They're not going to, I don't think they're going to go from all of that to then something of that measure the very next episode.
No, everybody needs to be licking their wounds right now and regrouping and trying to figure out what they're going to do next. They need time to rebuild to the next battle.
All right. Well, with that in mind, we will be back, of course, to discuss everything that happens in the next episode. So hit that subscribe button so you guys do not miss that. Also, you can support us further by checking out our Patreon. We have a link to that in the description. It's a great way to help support us further. Thank you so much to those of you who have.
You.
And we'll see you guys here next time.